This episode of the Kind of Funny Gamescast is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You don't need to choose between price and quality. You get an amazing and affordable shave. DollarShaveClub.com is the answer. To prove how amazing their shave really is, right now, they're going to give you your first month free to join the club. DollarShaveClub.com delivers amazing razors right to your door for a third of the price of what the greedy razor corporations charge. Join the club just like I did and stop dealing with the drugstore hassle and battle the locked up razor fortress ever again. I've been looking damn good, right, Kev?
Yeah, Tim.
Thanks, Kev. Just go to Dollar Shave Club and pick a razor from their lineup of amazing blades. I've been using the Executive Blade with their Dr. Carver shave butter. I've never used shave butter before, but I'll tell you what, it's good. It's damn good. The blade just gently glides for the smoothest shave ever. See why over 3 million members love Dollar Shave Club. They're so confident in the quality of all their products. Now you can get your first month of the club for free. Just pay shipping. After that, just a few bucks a month. No long-term commitment. No hidden fees. Go to dollarshaveclub.com/Gamescast. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Gamescast. What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 87 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller.
Hi.
And that damn beautiful Kind of Funny
Now
hoodie.
you can talk about how beautiful this Kind of Funny hoodie is. Available, of course, at kindoffunny.com/store. Now, of course, if there was ever a moment for Kevin to use his pudgy little fingers to punch in on a one-shot, that would have been a great one. But instead, he'll want to do it for no reason when you're talking next time, Tim. You'll be talking in the middle of a monologue. He'll cut to us.
Imagine if I'm talking right now, and no, now he's cut on me. We're Tom. Yeah, I know.
But thank you very much for the comments on the new hoodie. I'm glad so many people are getting it, supporting it. I want to talk about this amazing jacket you have.
It's the same jacket I've always had.
But the other jacket did not look good. This jacket looks good.
I don't take offense. I mean, you're wrong. You're just straight up wrong about that.
Yeah.
There's no question or anything. I don't think I've been complimented more on anything I've ever owned or done.
Yeah.
Or experienced in my life.
Then that jacket, the blue jacket. This jacket in navy blue.
This jacket, it's not navy, you idiot.
What color is it?
It's like a dark teal.
It's a navy blue. And it just blends into all your shirts. It just blends into everything.
Yeah.
It just blends.
Yeah,
This one has style.
No, this one's fucking
This one
boring.
stands out.
This one boring. Stands out.
Yeah.
Drab olive green.
Drab ass dark blue before. Because you'd wear it over blue shirts like this lovely shirt Colin's wearing here. Johnson Weld 2016. Vote for them at the welding convention. But like it would just blend into this shirt. You wouldn't see it.
It's not true. The only shirt it blended into was the flower print shirt, but that's because that's a blended shirt.
Now here's what I'm gonna say. Here's what I'm gonna say.
Miller.
Kevin, give me the one shot of Tim. Thank you. Are you gonna listen to this pervert? He's got a seahorse with a baby in its stomach, all gross. Or are you gonna listen? Now cut to me, the fashionista Greg Miller, wearing a Portillo shirt that a fan made him, and a hoodie you can get at kindoffunny.com/store. Now, Colin, you get to be impartial. Whose side do you come down on this one?
I zoned out 5 minutes ago.
We weren't even recording.
Hasn't been recording for
This is
5
Kind of Funny
minutes. That's how long
Gamescast.
I've been zoned out.
Every week we get together to talk about video games and all the things that we love about them or don't like about them. Most of the time it's love though, because I like to stay positive about that type of shit.
It was JT who said, "Where is the love?"
Where is the
and it's
love?
right here on the Kind of Funny Gamescast.
Did you know that the Black Eyed Peas made a 2016 version of that song?
No, was it good?
No, it's trash.
My apologies.
Utter trash. I like the message behind it, but not the song.
Is JT still making music? I don't hear from him enough.
Justin Timberlake.
Yeah. He did Happy, I know. But what was the other one? Has he done anything else recently?
Did you do Happy? Isn't that Pharrell?
No, he didn't do fucking Happy.
That's Pharrell.
I hate you, Greg.
What is the other animated movie he did a song for? There's Happy. Huh? Enemy Souls?
Enemy Souls.
What are you saying?
The children's movie Enemy Souls.
Trolls.
What was the song for that?
The newest one.
Did he do a song for Trolls?
Yeah.
It's his one that's out. Oh, well, I don't know. Which one
Yeah,
is
the
it? His
exciting
newest
thing.
is important. What's his hit right now?
I don't know what it is.
Bullshit, it hasn't been. Whatever the
Fun
new
fact.
popular Justin Timberlake one is, it's from a movie.
Trolls.
What is the song, though?
I don't know.
Enemy Souls.
Dance.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
remember
it.
The song though. Well, I don't remember the name. Because you got Suit and Tie stuck in my head.
Come on. Oh, there's something magical.
Help.
It's
Help.
superstitious and there's people.
Every week you can get this for free on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, or you go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and pay for it and get it early.
And this
We
one's
recommend
worth the
that.
dollar.
This one is worth the damn dollar. Right, Colin?
I won't be so sure about that until the end. We'll see.
We'll see.
You guys are too bold.
I'm having fun today.
your
I'm having good
proclamations.
times today. It's gonna be
It
a good
is
show.
really bright. You look like
Greg Miller out here talking shit. It's not a good day to talk shit, Colin.
Why is
What
everyone,
happens when you talk shit, Colin?
Why is everyone getting so close to me?
Shot, Colin.
I don't like. What did I say? I didn't say anything bad. I was just trying to be realistic. That's all.
Those are warnings. Warnings. All right, Greg.
Yeah.
Me and you.
Yeah.
We got to go talk. We got to talk to Ubisoft people, and we got to play
Yeah.
a little game called Watch Dogs 2
Watch Dogs Deuce.
a couple days ago.
We did.
We got to play about an hour overall,
Yeah.
I would say. Saw a little presentation, did that stuff.
Right.
We got to do a sponsored Let's Play for them, so that was cool. They brought us out there. Them and Amazon. You can pre-order Watch Dogs 2 from Amazon, and if you're a Prime member, you get 20% off as part of their Prime Game Save program.
is this part sponsored too?
Well, I mean, might as well give a fucking shout out to it.
That's fine. I'm just
You
know
should check
we're-
out our the Let's Play over on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, which
Sure.
will be up by the time you're watching this
Of
video.
course. I just always want to be very clear to our audience. We talk about our ethics all the time. The Let's Play was sponsored. Of course, we could have said if we didn't like it in there.
Yeah.
But this segment not sponsored, so we can definitely say if we didn't like
But I
it.
mean,
here.
either way, I'm letting people know this was sponsored. We're talking about Watch Dogs. There's sponsored shit going on, so whatever.
Take it with a
it
grain of salt, as Colin
or
Moriarty
leave
would
it.
say.
Is that what you say, Colin?
Yeah, take it with a grain of salt. You should take everything with a grain of salt.
Everything, no matter what.
Why trust anything anyone says, especially Kevin? He's
Especially
a fucking
Kevin.
pathological liar.
Listen
Can you,
here,
do you have the
Kevin.
Kev Cam even for this show?
No, don't. It's gonna break. Whatever he's about to do is gonna break.
No,
me.
I don't have the
Thank
webcam
you,
for this
Jesus
show.
Christ. Oh
Thank
God.
What was I gonna do?
What
Break
camera
the
were
show.
you using earlier?
He's got a webcam
It's a
over there.
webcam.
Oh, I appreciate
We
it.
played Watch Dogs 2.
We did.
Now, Tim, let me lay on you the history I have with Watch Dogs.
Go for it.
I played the original Watch Dogs for 4 hours, we'll say, right?
Okay.
Go ahead and fact check me via trophies. I don't know. And I didn't really enjoy it. On paper, it's a game I should have enjoyed. It was in Chicago, my hometown. I was some kind of vigilante running around hacking things. I was shooting people, doing all this different stuff. But the world felt stiff. The movements felt stiff. It wasn't a living, breathing world. It wasn't an interesting character. It wasn't Aiden. Wasn't that his name? I want to say. I didn't like him.
Pierce.
I thought that was his last name, but I didn't want to go that far.
Sounds like a porn
Grandson of Hawkeye Pierce from MASH. Didn't enjoy him. Didn't enjoy his storyline. Just it didn't work for me, so I got out real quick. But I always hung my hat on the hope that this would be to Assassin's Creed 1 as Watch Dogs 2 will be to Assassin's Creed 2, where I played Assassin's Creed 1 and did not enjoy myself and stopped playing it early too. Assassin's Creed 2 fell in with, loved it, platinumed it, had a great time with it. I say that, and then every show we've seen the extended demos of for Watch Dogs 2, I'm like, I like that, I don't like that. Ooh, I like this, I don't know about that. And like the hacking, I'm like, is the hacking clunky? Is it feel like it's shoeboxing me in? Because their whole thing is like they want to learn from what they did with Watch Dogs 1, they say all the time. And they have their new character here, Marcus, PSP, get your game on. And he's doing this, and he's a more fun character, and his entourage, the people he's working with, they're more lively, they're more colorful. San Francisco's a more realized city. All that sounds great, but then when you get to that demo, they kept showing, right, of where you use your drone to fly outside of that guy's house, you get in, you do it. I'm like, this looks still like Watch Dog 1's gameplay.
Slow.
Exactly. Slow, not open, not living, if that makes sense. I hate to keep going back to that. Jumping in, playing it, they finally turn the controls over to us. They show us a few things, and it's just go.
We saw a story trailer,
Yeah.
and then they gave us a little kind of a brief rundown of how to play.
I think they said our saves were about 5 hours into gameplay, so clearly things had already been leveled up. This would all be slowly given to you, but we're just dropping you in here to see how it works. I got the controller. You and I in our Let's Play run around and just fuck around in San Francisco. That's what I did for the 15 minutes before I came and sat down with you two. I had a ball. I'm very, very excited. I'm looking for another open world game to get lost in. This feels like something to get lost in. It seems like we're always talking about the video game hooks, right? I'd pull out and look at the map, which we're not allowed to show, and you'd see, okay, here are the races, here's this mission, here's these little things, here's just a spot to go get money if you go do these things. It's got the Ubisoft traits you expect, but I am excited to do in San Francisco. It seems like just from an open world mechanical level. I can't talk to the story, how the story missions are going to go, but running around, tasing people, fucking with people, grabbing different cars, I was having a good time.
Yeah, and there's online missions too. So like when we saw the map, there was like the little dots that you can kind of go to that we couldn't because obviously there's no one playing online.
Yeah.
But there's some missions that you could play solo, but they're better if you play with people to kind of have a team doing things.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
What did you take away from it?
I am from San Francisco. So
Are you?
I am.
Oh, you
I
never
don't know- I
talk
don't know
about
if you
that.
know that.
Oh, man. Where's Kevin from?
Kevin is from Daly City.
Oh, I would say
Daily
hell.
Shitty is what they call it.
Oh, Daily Shitty, Kevin Coelho.
I think Daly City is very nice, Kevin.
Thank you, Colin, for not being a piece of shit.
Daly City not featured in Watch Dogs 2.
Of course not.
But the whole Bay Area is. So we're getting like a fake ass San Jose and a fake ass Oakland and a fake ass San Francisco. The thing about the San Francisco is, we've seen San Francisco in some games.
Driver San Francisco.
And there was Driver San Francisco. There was Rush.
The ambulance.
Rush was in San Francisco. San Andreas, the PS2 version, or PS2 gen one had a fake ass San Francisco. But that was so long ago. We haven't really seen a beautiful San Francisco realized in an open world game. Obviously, we got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater levels and stuff, and those are always cool. But those are always like super Disneyland versions of the city. This is as well. But it had the weird uncanny valley thing of when you see people and it's like it's almost right, which makes it weird. It was like that where you'd be like driving like, holy shit, this looks just like it, and I'm like, wait, now I'm in a totally different district. That's not how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, but I mean that's
it's a video game,
exactly.
So it's fun and I'll get used to it. But because I'm so familiar with it, it was a little bit weird to try to get from place to place. Sure, I knew where I was trying to go.
I like that. I mean, that was the thing that worked for me. Like in the Let's Play, what I make you go back and do because we're out in the sunset, right? Mm-hmm. Sunset represent, huh? Guess what? You know, Bizarro Sunset, the Richmond, blinked out of existence. Doesn't exist in this world.
That's weird.
All right. So let's not fucking hate on real avenues.
All I'm going to say is that nothing good has ever come from the Richmond. Nothing good will ever come from the Richmond. There is no success story from the Richmond. The Sunset, birthplace is kind of funny. Birthplace is kind of funny.
Sunset is a piece of shit.
Birthplace
that
is kind
was
of
the Sunset
funny.
gang sign.
No, it wasn't. Is it really?
It was. Yes.
No gang is doing that. Give me a one shot on that, Kevin. Do it for him, Tim. No gang is doing that in the street.
I can only tell you what I saw.
A bunch of 5-year-olds
Like
acting like that was a game. Anyways, they're out there.
But how do they win? But what's north of the park then?
The park is huge. Rather than make the park super long, Golden Gate Park is what we're talking about, of course, is really long. How many, you probably know, how many square acres, miles?
I don't know how many square miles it is, but it's probably 2.5 miles long.
So what they did is they shortened it and then expanded it
all the way to the water?
No, you drive out and you get to the Presidio.
There's no Richmond. It's Presidio and Golden Gate are one thing.
Is the Panhandle at the end still and all that kind of stuff? Like the Oak and Fell and all that kind of extending off of Kezar and stuff? Does that go all the way?
I know what you're talking about.
Well, pretty much, it's weird where Sunset and like going, so Lincoln,
mm-hmm.
what would be Lincoln, if you just keep going that, you would end up in the marina.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
They've taken the districts and
this doesn't matter to almost anyone listening to this.
Yeah, who cares?
Whatever.
But no, what does matter is the fact that they dropped me in, the first thing I did was pop up the map. I saw South Park. And there's a South Park down in Soma or whatever, and drove over there because I knew right across the street based on how their San Francisco would be Ubisoft, and there was Ubisoft, right? And then you turned out and I drove out to the Sunset, looked for our house, didn't find it, looked for Easy Money, couldn't find Sam, but I went out to the water, right, and turned around on Lincoln and came back, and you come back and there's a sign that says Ocean Beach, the real sign you'd expect, and then there's also a gas station right there, like you know what I mean, that looks just, I mean, it's obviously a fake gas station, but it's like, holy shit, this looks like exactly what it would look like.
That's
on
what I'm
Lincoln
saying
with
the Uncanny Valley thing, where it's like, it would be like kind of a weird fake ass thing, but all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this shit's like too real.
Yeah.
Like going down Market Street, it's like, damn, this is exactly.
And that was the thing, right? When we were going over to Ubisoft in the game, when we were driving to Ubisoft, and like you're like, no, you're on second now, and I'm like, I'm not, but this is exactly what it looks like on second. You're going towards the ballpark.
So it's cool. I mean, it's very, very authentic, which I appreciate. Obviously, going into this, and I think that it gives. I mean, San Francisco has a very unique feeling to it, and I think that they're nailing it in this game, and I'm excited that people are going to get to experience it that aren't from here, or maybe that have visited here or never been here. But it's definitely a really cool world. Lots of hills, lots of greenery, lots of different areas, and San Francisco has its districts, and it's kind of known for that. And even if you're not from here, you still know about the hate, or you still know about the mission and stuff like this. So it's like it's cool to see those in the game, and each of them have their own kind of.
And to go into Fisherman's Wharf and see that stupid Fisherman's Wharf circle sign that spins, right? They had that there, and I talked to somebody when I was leaving, one of the developers, and like, oh yeah, the Bushman's out there. Yeah, he's been in the trailers. We didn't see him when we were running around. But I was like, oh shit, Girardelli Square's there. I'm sorry, I get choked up.
You're so
Girardelli was down there too. It was right there. It's where Greg Gettys used to work.
It is.
He made some ice cream.
He made some ice cream.
So is the hate in the game? Like Hate Street?
I'm sure it is. We didn't go near there.
That'd be pretty cool. That's like my favorite part of the city. I'd be interested to see.
Go to Wing Wings.
If the
Go to Wing Wings.
McDonald's is there.
Yeah, Shady McDonald's. And
McDonald's.
if anyone tries to sell you dank nugs 17 times in a 2-block radius as well.
Yeah, so it was really fun exploring all the different things and kind of seeing what was there. But it was really cool, like you said, the Ocean Beach sign was there, and it's fun that it's not the San Andreas version; it's San Francisco.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not some fake made up names that are kind of like it. Although ILM. Was like Hook Studios or something like that, which is cool.
But it's the same thing where we were there, and I'm like, you're like, that's the Starbucks, and this. I'm like, no, I walked this way when I went to see with Kevin and Greg. I went to see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I was like, wait, if I turn up here, this is where the Yoda statue should be, and it wasn't the Yoda statue. It was a thing for Hook, but there was a statue in that rotunda area where it should be. Like, that's cool.
What was really fun, and most of the shows we shoot are obviously either in the studio or before in the old studio, but with Love and Sex stuff, we go out and shoot all over the city, and like we go to places that are kind of iconic.
Yeah.
So it's really weird that like the exact locations that we shot so many Love and Sex stuff episodes we went to in the game and are able to go to them and experience.
And so like we're talking a lot about how much fun it is to drive around and see all this stuff for us, right? I'm not sure how much fun that'll be for just a normal player, with the exception of the fact that getting to and from these places was fun.
Yes.
I don't remember playing Watch Dogs 1 and having the GTA feel to it that this had. This had the whole, when I was at IGN and Justin Davis, I would do the live streams of GTA 5 at 5, where I'd be like, fucking let's just run around and see what we can get into. And that's exactly what you and I did. And I was like, I don't remember Watch Dogs 1's world feeling that alive.
Feeling
where I felt
open
like
and fun enough to do that. And I appreciate that there is a lot of cars that you were talking about it feeling alive or whatever. Like there's a lot of cars moving around. And going back to like GTA 3 even, if you didn't have the right car, it was a lot less fun to drive around. And like, especially in Vice City, it's like motorcycles were such a key thing that they were so much more fun to maneuver in. And I'm like, I love the motorcycles. I just feel better driving around in them. And there's plenty of them all over the place. Whenever one would get fucked up by jumping another, there was Prius, Prii, if you will.
There were many Prii.
A
herd of Prii.
We fucked those things up.
Yeah, we did.
But that was a lot of fun. My big criticism of the game is the controls. They are very, very, very complex.
Sure, but and like I agree with you, because it was the thing. Even when like I was getting my demo when they first handed me the controller, I was like, all right, do this, or right bumper this, and I'd fuck it up and do something else. Or like when we're playing and I'm clearly trying to do something else and I'm throwing the drone out or whatever, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Again, though, 5 hours in.
Yep.
When
5 hours in.
If they pepper this out where it's like, all right, now you have the drone, use it for 10 or whatever, 15 minutes or however many missions it's going to be before you get the rolling drone or whatever. And like then I understand that it'll be easier, because our skills trees was already starting to expand out in different ways.
Yeah, and I think that I played Watch Dogs 1 for probably an hour just to like see if it was for me, and it wasn't. This one definitely it has its hooks in me, just in the sense of the location, the main character, the music, the tone. It's very urban, very San Francisco Bay Area. Like it's kind of targeting Tim Gettys, and some of the story elements it's a little cringeworthy. Like there's that character with the
emoticon eyes,
the emoticons,
and stuff.
It's like they're going a little far with that.
And that was the thing with the story trailer where it's happening. You're like the guy's like namaste, and he's getting his like head, like they're kickboxing or whatever. Like I don't know what is. Well, I don't care. Just give me the game. I want to run around. I want to sink all my skill points into this tree and do that and get over here.
So some of those elements didn't vibe with me that well, but others really clicked, and I was like, this is a story that I think is cool. I like the taking down the Google essentially.
Sure.
And all that's super awesome. I feel like it fits the Watch Dogs concept and idea.
Here's a
really
question
this is just the same game as every other Ubisoft game, just with a different gimmick.
I mean, that's what Ubisoft does, right?
Yeah.
And why I'm so excited for Wildlands. When you say cringeworthy, the guy with the emoticon eyes, do you have those cringeworthy moments when you were playing or looking at GTA 5 and stuff like that?
No, I feel like but I think it's a different tone. And honestly, like cringeworthy might be going a little too far. It's just kind of like it's try hard, I think, where it's like when they nailed so much of that aesthetic of Bay Area urban stuff, and then to have that, it's kind of like, well, that's what people would think. You know what I mean? Whereas like that's not actually how that group of people would act.
And then they see Grimecraft and they go, oops.
Yeah, but not really though. Like I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying though. It's that's people trying to like imitate Grimecraft, not actually what Grimecraft would be like.
Grimecraft wanted too much money, I heard, to be in Watch Dogs 2.
That was the word on the street.
It's like, this check is sus.
But I really liked all the hacking and stuff, and I feel like in the first one it was cooler to watch in trailers than to actually do it yourself.
100%.
And with this one, in the very, very limited experience I had with it, and also not really grasping the controls totally because there's a lot of things where it's like, all right, hold L1. Now you're using a wheel to choose this. Now hit one of the face buttons to either do this, this, or this. So yeah, I'm sure after a couple hours, that'll be a little bit more muscle memory.
Right.
It was weird the game didn't have a jump button. I guess that's the other problem. Is I'm used to GTA.
Yeah.
So when it doesn't play exactly like GTA, it feels a little off.
Sure.
But if I get used to it, I'm sure that'll kind of solve itself. But the hacking stuff is really cool and interesting, and you can kind of layer stuff on top of each other. So it's like you can hack other cars to do one thing and hack this car to do that, but then hack the EMP to blow up so it like causes a big explosion exactly where we want it to. A cool thing I was doing is you can get on top of a car and then hack it to go just straight forward, so you can get like surf on the car, get where you need to go, and like then go off like a jump and it'll send you off. It's a lot of just fun, stupid things that I don't know exactly.
Well, that's the whole thing. That's playing it. That's what I felt, right? Is that we were getting these controls that were too complex for us being dropped into this. But I could see how once that game's out and I have time, or really talented people have time, the way you're going to piece that together in really interesting things, right? Of like when we get it, and the first thing you can do is like hack that guy's phone to distract him, or hack him and like put a warrant out for their arrest, and that calls in cops, distract for whatever you want to go do. Like you can see that being, especially when we were running from cops, right? Like I thought about this when I got home. We're driving away, cops are chasing us. We'd get out, we'd shoot them or whatever, and then eventually we get busted or killed or whatever. And it's just like you can do the thing where you're driving, and then as you pass parked cars on the fly, L1 to hack the cars, to have the cars swing out. Yeah, exactly. It's like we weren't doing that at all, but you can totally see where in late missions, when you know what you're doing and when you want to hack around and do that,
it can get really complex and like very cool and very action movie-y. Where there's a lot going on, and we were talking about the hacking people's cell phones. It's interesting because I feel like with Watch Dogs 1, we all saw the trailer, and it's like, that's cool, but it's like, but how is it actually going to work from a gameplay perspective?
Right.
With this, I really feel like it's the Assassin's Creed 2 thing, where it's like, okay, here's how it actually is going to work. Here's how hacking cars make sense. Hacking parked cars to jut out makes sense from a gameplay mechanic.
The one thing I thought was interesting, granted it's because we're getting dropped into it though, is the fact that we didn't have to do that. If that makes sense. Where I got home and I was like, oh, right, we didn't really hack anything, and we didn't go into that like blue mode that showed who people were and what they were doing. And I was just like, I assume the game is going through missions will hold my hand to make me do that. Yeah. But if they don't, it's going to be interesting if you can play that game as GTA without really doing the hacking.
I'm sure you'll have to do the hacking stuff. I mean, so there was the drone, there was the little like RC car thing that could like jump around and hop around and stuff, and those were cool and like fun to control. But I thought it was cool. You could hack people's cell phones and call the cops on them, but you can also put hits on them. Yeah. And it's like then gang members would just come out and shoot the motherfuckers, then leave. And it's like, damn, son, the fucking sunset's coming hard.
Okay, don't do the sunset thing ever again. It looks like a turkey. It looks like you're a turkey gang.
It's the sun.
No, I understand what it is.
This is the sun.
Nope, that's not right.
This is the earth. And this is the set.
Now, see, I think this is just, again, what's the Richmond gang sign?
I don't even know.
It doesn't have one. And I think that's the thing. I think some sunset people were trolling you because they knew you were a gullible Richmond kid coming over here. It's the abs?
Yeah, throw them up.
Okay, you guys are weird. Now, Colin, I know what you're thinking. Can you taser dogs in this game? Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
You definitely can.
Now, if you get your wanted level up, will they release German Shepherds on you that kill you? Yes, they will.
They will.
Yes, they will.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited for it. It was a lot of fun to play. I want to play more, which that's that's the most important.
That's my thing. To temper what I'm saying is I enjoyed fucking around in it. How's the story going to be? Will I be forced into like, oh, hacking kind of sucks or whatever? I don't know. But for the first time in a while, I think I'm seeing why I'm going to play this, why I am going to play this on day one, why I am interested in Watch Dogs 2, which I wasn't really getting from the trailers when it was like, well, how much of this is canned? How much of it is choice? What do you need to do? What can't you do? What do you have to do?
Yeah. The parkour stuff's cool too. The system's a lot simpler than I thought it would be. You just hold down R2.
Yeah.
And then it kind of just like launches you over the different things. But it's fun to just keep you moving, which is something that even with GTA, it was always kind of like, all right, sprint, awkward jump.
Yeah, those little weird jumps.
But with this, it definitely felt more fluid. However, there were certain times, and you can even see in the Let's Play, like where I was trying to jump onto a boat at the end, and like I just would just like fall into the water and just be like, what the hell happened there? But it gave some funny moments. So definitely check out the Let's Play. I thought it was some great work. Kevin added in a lot of little editing finesse.
Kevin's getting really good at editing. So. It only took him 2 years, but he's finally getting somewhere where he's making interesting content for all of you.
All right. Topic 2 of the day. What games are we playing now?
Not much.
Really?
Yeah, no. I mean, we figure I was doing all at Ocean Horning. They called me Ocean Horny for a while because I was so into
That's
it.
what
You know
I
what I
heard.
mean?
People on the street.
Then we went to GameStop Expo.
Yes.
I always pack the Vita like I'm gonna play something, fall asleep on the plane. Then we worked our buttholes off, did that. And then Jen came to visit. So I've really not been playing anything.
So, okay, this topic's going to be what games are we playing now, and also what games have we seen? Because we just were at GameStop Expo.
Ah, okay.
We got to talk about a whole bunch of things. We had a whole bunch of devs on and stuff. And we saw some pretty cool things.
I want to bust out the schedule if you don't mind.
Okay,
so I can
go
go
for
through.
it. Go for
Colin,
it.
you've been playing stuff.
Yeah, a little bit. Bioshock Collection's out, so I've been spending a lot of time with the original Bioshock, which is one of my favorite games. Holds up wonderfully. Really recommend that. I know some people on PC were having some issues
What a
with
surprise.
it, which is shocking.
Huh.
But
PC 's supposed to
but
be
the
the
PS4
superior
version's
form
fine.
of gaming.
It's great, runs great, looks great, plays great. A little archaic in some of the control schemes, as I discussed. I think on PS I Love You. I think that the jumping with triangles a little weird. Crouching with clicking the stick is a little like we've moved on from this. There's like kind of a more conventional first person control scheme. Circle to crouch. You typically extra jump stuff like that. Final Fantasy Tactics. I was I was really pleasantly surprised. BioShock's one of those games where I really adored it, but I also haven't played it in like 4 years or so. So I was like, does it still? I mean, even when I last played it, it was not new. But I was like, does it still hold up? And it very much holds up. The story's great. Rapture's a really beautiful, beautifully rendered and beautifully realized place, and it's scary. The game's really, really frightening. And Ken Levine's an absolute G. So I've been playing that and playing a little more Overcooked with Aaron.
Overcooked.
We really got to stay away from that game, I think, because I actually get viscerally angry when I play it.
That's so funny.
Like I actually.
But are you mad because she's? Is it because for a while it was like she didn't understand, like with Inside, she's learning game logic. Is it here that she's just like, I cut up onions and you're like, we need tomatoes?
Yeah, like it's that she makes it too complicated. Like it's like the control scheme. I'm like, it is. You grab and you
dash
cut and you
cut.
run and you like and just give me the goddamn tomatoes. Like let's go, let's get this thing. So like I actually need to not play it with her because I actually get really I'm actually getting angry. Like why aren't we getting 3 stars on this stage? Like. Almost one of those things where like, let me just do it myself. Just take both controllers and just
Yeah.
So we're trying. We jump in and do a few stages, or a couple stages a night, but and we do the same thing with Tetris. And I played way more of Inside, but I still have not gotten to the end.
Oh wow.
Just kind of limping through that game. So and then I played Oceanhorn, and I talked about it on Colin Moriarty Live this morning. I played Oceanhorn for a few hours. I like it. I think it's so unabashedly and not ashamed of being Zelda. That's actually a major turnoff. Like it's just Zelda. It's not like we're trying to be Zelda or there's elements that are like Zelda. I'm like, this is a ripoff. This is actually a ripoff of Zelda. This is not a game inspired by it. This is not a game that's informed by it. It's fucking Zelda. And it's but it's not as good as any Zelda game that I've played. So it's fun and it's interesting and I like it. I'm not saying I don't like it. And I think people that are looking for a Zelda on PlayStation 4, it's on Xbox One as well. I think it's even on phones. I'm not saying that you should necessarily not play it, but I'm saying like I was really kind of turned off by the fact that I'm like, this is just Zelda. This is just what a Zelda game you made.
Yeah.
Like everything about it, the story, the characters, the world, the weapons, the hearts, the bombs, the water is just like Wind Waker. The enemies are the same. You find a sword and a shield in the beginning.
Here's a heart piece.
Yeah, like I'm like you find 3 things that are clearly supposed to be the Triforce.
I love it.
Go to the desert and find this. And I'm like, all right, like
Get your bomb bag.
yeah, like go get your bomb bag and find your heart pieces and I'm like, all right, that's.
But it's got
So
trophies,
I'm not trying to shit
better.
on it from a gameplay perspective because I actually think it plays fine and I think it's an interesting game. But I was really turned off by the fact that that I'm like this is like almost like just totally ripping Zelda off. Which you can say about other games, but at least other games do their own thing. This game doesn't do anything of its own. The only thing in the game that I think is unique and interesting, and that's really kind of you find in other games on mobile and other places, is the unique challenges that are that you find in each place. So it's like kill this many enemies or find
Talk
this
to
many
these
coins
many
here.
people, yeah.
And I'm like, that's cool. Like, it gives you a little extra thing to do. The trophy list is pretty robust and stuff like that. But yeah, I was more turned off than turned on by Oceanhorn. So I think that's basically it. I just redeemed a bunch of codes, and there's some games I want to mess with, but my assumption is that BioShock is going to occupy me, and BioShock 2 and BioShock Infinite, hopefully, until Mafia. We got
Mafia
Mafia
3.
And Mafia 3 I think looks absolutely fantastic. And
Can't
I'm
wait.
really stoked to play that game.
That was one
I
of our-
liked Mafia 2 a lot. I think that this game's going to be even better.
That was one of our segments from GameStop Expo, right? One of the games we got to go see, or at least talk about, because it wasn't. I don't know how much new stuff we were seeing, but totally can't wait. And again, it's gonna be an interesting little race because I think Watch Dogs is looking to scratch the same itch for me that Mafia will be, right? Where
Yeah.
it is, hey, let's go into this world, let's get lost in it, let's really invest time and become these characters, and get all the upgrades and become all these different things, collect all the collectibles. Yeah, what we saw for Mafia 3 continues to make me want that game badly. You know what I mean? And that is well, right now. We were talking about this, I think, the other day at dinner or something, where it's like we're in this weird spot, I feel like, right now, where there's still games coming out, sure, but the big stuff, I don't even know if there are that many big games this year, but the ones that we want are still out just a little bit. So like when Mafia comes, yeah. Watch Dogs comes, yeah. For me, when Rise of the Tomb Raider comes, like I'm blown away. I talked so much shit last year, right? Of like, oh man, I'm playing Rise of the Tomb Raider on Xbox. Should I wait to platinum it? No, that's dumb. I'm enjoying this game. Let's finish this game. Finish the game. I'm like, that was a great experience. It sucks that I won't try to platinum it next year. And I'm the more we talk about Rise of the Tomb Raider, we saw so much of it. We did the GameStop Expo, first off, segment about Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-year celebration, but then we worked the square room with all the managers. So we talked about Rise of the Tomb Raider and talked to the developers a little bit there, even talked to the audience about Tomb Raider. To replay Rise of the Tomb Raider, to use the classic Lara skins, to do the story DLC I never did before, to go in and do Croft Manor with PlayStation VR, I'm super stoked to get lost back in that game again. And I'm because it was such a fulfilling, fun time to play. And again, the thing is, it's going to be another one where it's going to be interesting for me when I put all these games in the basket, which ones actually get to the platinum or the 100% or whatever, because I'm interested in Rise of the Tomb Raider because it was beautiful, because it was fun, and because you went into these new areas and it was, oh, fuck, like, there's 5 treasures here. I'm going to get each one of those and go over to this. And so if it just becomes that I go from starving for a game to get lost in to be the completionist in, to knock out all these checkmark boxes, when they're all here, what is that going to be? I'm sure I'm not going to do it with all of them. Does that mean I don't play all of them as much as I'd like to, or as I think I would? But who knows? Right now, though, can't wait for Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah, it's coming soon too. October 11th.
Yeah.
I just want to touch back on Mafia real quick because I thought you were going to go more into that.
Sure. No, I want to keep talking about Mafia. What else you got to say?
I just really want to turn people on to the fact that I think that the game is going to be like a more realized version of what I think Mafia 2 would have been, and it's connected intimately to Mafia 2 because Vito is in Mafia 3, who's the main character and the protagonist in Mafia 2. I like that it plays with social themes. It takes place in New Orleans, or it's not New Orleans, but it's a New Orleans type city in the 60s, in 1969, I think. You play as a black Vietnam veteran. So you're dealing with a lot of racism and a lot of crime and all those kinds of things that were pertinent to the 1960s and to the kind of social uprising and the radical shift that happened after the Civil Rights Act. And the Dixiecrat rise and all that kind of stuff going on in the late 60s. And so I think that it's really cool that they're doing that because I think it's thought-provoking and I think could expose people to what the reality of what it might have been like to be a black person in the South in the 60s. Also dealing with the trauma of Vietnam War and all those kinds of things, also dealing with the crime-ridden kind of reality of your life in that particular city. So I think that on just a narrative level, I think that and a character level, I think that's really cool. But the gameplay thing is really cool too because you're basically working gangs against each other in the game, and you are making friends or enemies with people and gangs depending on the decisions you make. So there's I don't want to say it's nonlinear more than an open world game is inherently nonlinear, but it seems like you can totally you might have to partner with a person like an Irish guy, for instance, or you partner with Vito and the Italian gang, but you could do something where you have to actually kill Vito. But there's also a possibility that you have Vito as your friend at the very end of the game, and the trophies leaked, and there's trophies to have them all with you to the very end, where you don't have to make bad choices, or necessarily bad choices to keep them. So, but it's all about the gang's take and stuff like that. It's all about the money that they make, and you go around and basically do material destruction to the things that they do, and to whittle their number down to 0, so you take control of the areas that they control of the city. And so I think it's a really cool kind of checkbox
100%.
game. And the combat looks really visceral and violent. The story looks really cool. This game's been gestating for a long time. It's a different studio than the studio that did Mafia 2. So. And I'm not saying Mafia 2 is a bad game. Mafia 2 was a half-baked game, and even then, I think it was still actually really good. It reminded me, as I've said before, of The Getaway, in which is one of my favorite PS2 games, where you never really got to explore the open world. The open world was there, and you kind of just drove through it. But the story beats were there, and the characters were there. I've always said it felt, very clearly like a Guy Ritchie movie. I think that was the idea. And Mafia 2 was very similar, where like there was just this empty space that you drove around that was kind of lifeless, but when you got to the places where you were supposed to be, the story was really cool. And so I think Mafia 3 has the potential to have both of those things, and I that is easily my most anticipated game. I want to play Tomb Raider because I didn't play it on Xbox One. I'm really excited about Gears of War 4, which Greg and I are going to play together.
Give me the pen.
And
Alexander Haig.
And yeah, I got to revive my Alexander Haig Xbox tag, something from wherever the hell that is. And I think that's the last. The only time I might even locked it with that name was when I played Gears 3. But I do agree that we're in a weird void where I'm actually kind of looking forward to not playing too much, because other than a handful of AAA games and some indies that are coming out that are exciting, I'm going to use this time more to catch up on the things that I want to play. I think that the Arkham collection is going to be exciting to people, and I think that the BioShock collection is going to be really exciting and thought-provoking to people. And then by the time we get to February, when Horizon starts to roll out, and we get a bunch of these kind of Q1 and Q2 games, NX is going to be probably in Q2. South Park obviously is going to be pushed out there. Yeah, South Park was definitely in that mix, but is no longer.
That would have been my most anticipated game for the fall.
So yeah, Mafia 3 is the one I definitely have my eyes on. And as I was looking at the calendar today, I'm like, we're not that far away. Like, we probably should get codes soon. The game's gold, and the game's through certification because the trophies are live. So I really do think any day we're going to get it. So I think that's really,
check my email
really
right
cool.
now for you.
Yeah, thanks.
There you go.
Don't forget Lego Dimensions too.
Yeah, me and Greg, we hosted the Square's GameStop Manager thing, so we ran through all of their upcoming games. And of course, there's the ones that I'm obviously excited for, like Kingdom Hearts 2.8, which now has a release date January 24th, I think it was. And like a lot of the stuff in that game is like kind of whatever, like the Dream Drop Distance, like I already played on 3DS, so I don't need to replay that. But I'm very excited for the Birth by Sleep .2 thing, which is the first time I'm going to get to play Kingdom Hearts in the 3 engine. So at least that's like, a little hint of some fun to come eventually. But from that presentation, the two things that stood out to me were Nier Automata, which looks super, super awesome. And it's if you guys don't know, it's an action game developed by or co-developed by Platinum Games, and it's it's like Bayonetta and Onimusha had like this super awesome baby, and I'm very excited for that. It's early 2017 is all they're saying.
Yeah, they actually look cool. I like the idea of the RPG stuff later on top of it. You know what I mean? And I was also blown away by how many people knew about it and were into it.
Well, that's one of those like kind of like darling games where it's just
but I mean,
people are super, super up on it because it looks great.
Sure, but I mean, it was one of those things where it's the fraction of the room that knew about it and was behind it and was like super in on it, whereas other people weren't.
People really liked the original Nier, and it was one of those. I think people appreciate that Square is investing in bringing a sequel out, even though Nier in no way, shape, or form performed well enough to get a sequel. And so I think that, and to nonetheless get a developer of the prestige, although I think a very quickly falling prestige of Platinum Games.
But this seems to be on the good side of it. I mean, Platinum, even to this day, is kind of, they went from hit to hit or miss. And I think that this falls seemingly on the hit side. It looks way less like a Ninja Turtles. It does look more like a Bayonetta. And so I'm stoked for that. Something that during the presentation looked super lame, but during me and your time with one of the guys talking about it was World of Final Fantasy. The trailer, it was like, oh god, this looks like a mess. But talking to them and seeing the footage of the gameplay and the actual like the story elements, and it kind of is just a huge celebration of the entire Final Fantasy franchise and like all the key moments from each of the games, and kind of seeing a different perspective on them. And I'm interested to see how kiddie it is, because they're definitely towing that line between it's a kid game that adults can enjoy and like, oh no, it's a great game, but it's
here's the fan service too.
Yeah, they downplayed, because I asked them, I was like, it seems like the idea is it's supposed to be accessible. The chibi characters don't necessarily give that away, because Final Fantasy IV, for instance, on DS, which was the remake of Final Fantasy IV, the chibi kind of style thing, or Final Fantasy III, those were really hard games. Mm-hmm. So that art style doesn't necessarily betray a certain, something about the game that says it's for kids. But I did bring up a specific game that is notorious in Final Fantasy, which is Final Fantasy Mystical Quest, which people fucking hate. And the reason that game sucks. I remember buying it on eBay. I didn't even own it at the time. I bought it on eBay in like 1997 or something and played it. And it's like baby's first role playing game. It's baby's first Final Fantasy, and that game was just a joke. And I don't want it to be like that, and I don't think it's going to be like that. To that point, Dragon Quest Builders looks cool too, and I got to give props to Square Enix, as we said. on the I said very vehemently on the stream when we were with them. I'm like, Square Enix, to their credit, is supporting Vita.
Yep.
They did it with Adventures of Mana. They're doing it with World of Final Fantasy. They're doing it with Dragon Quest Builders. And I just want to implore everyone out there again, like if you want to see more of these games on on the platform, like a AAA developer is giving you maybe not AAA games, but A games.
Yeah.
And you need to buy them and support them and show them that we want more of them. So while most other AAA devs have long since fled the scene. Activision did like Call of Duty, like a very shitty Call of Duty game, and like Spider-Man and all that kind of stuff. And then they were out. EA barely did anything. They were out. Ubisoft did some anecdotal thing, some things with Child of Light and all, Rayman, but then they were out. They did Assassin's Creed recently, which sucked. The Assassin's Creed kind of side scrollers. But Square Enix is putting good games out. So
and that's the thing, man, is Dragon Quest Builders runs on Vita. I really think I'm going to play a ton of that. Open world RPG mixed with Minecraft. Yeah, 1,000%. That sounds exactly what I want on Vita, right? Because all I ever want on Vita is a game to spend hours with and be in. And like for me, I know there's so many visual novels and JRPGs and stuff like that. That's not my kind of gameplay. Whereas like open world Minecraft build, craft, do this. Like even if I'm not knocking JRPG quest structure. Clearly, I love Persona, but there needs to be some hook to it. If the hook can be that you're building and it works and it runs well, I'm all in for that.
Yeah. Moving off of Square for Ubisoft, For Honor. Like I keep saying this, but I don't think I've said it on a show. Like that's a game that surprises me so much because when it was first announced last year at E3, it was kind of like all right, this guy with the beard is entertaining, but like what the hell's happening? And then this year at E3, they're focusing a bit more on the multiplayer and all that and the single player story trailer and shit. And it was kind of just like all right, but again, that it fell in the Ubisoft press conference that was kind of just like poorly planned, I think, and programmed. So even if it was a hit, it didn't feel like it. But after talking to a whole bunch of people at PAX, like people are so high on this game and super into it. And then the alpha just happened and we got to sit with one of the devs on it and like he totally sold me on it. Like the game looks super awesome. It seems like there's a super fun rock, paper, scissors style mechanic going on between the different factions and the classes within the factions and all that. And it's like, it seems like a different step for Ubisoft, which I think is cool because, we always talk about the Ubisoft game being this open world, whatever. This one seems way more battle focused. It's all about the combat. And it's all about these like one-on-one things. You're not getting the long range fighters and stuff. You're just right there. And there's a lot of AI characters around and you can team up with your friends and you don't all need to be on the same team. So there's the samurai, the Vikings and the like more like knight people. Your team can be a combination of this. One guy's a samurai, one guy's a knight or whatever. And I think that's cool because it allows people to just do whatever they want to. Yeah. And it seems fun. That's the most important part. Everyone that's playing is like, man, this is super fun. But there was a whole bunch of best friends out there when we were doing the stream that went to go play the demo. And they kept coming back and like, dude, For Honor looks awesome. Yeah. So stoked for that, surprisingly.
Yeah, I'm skeptical about For Honor. The reason is that I think it does look great, and it's the thing is that it has great buzz, not only with people that play it at trade shows, but with the media. But I just feel like at the same time, the media, the gaming media, like the overarching kind of mainstream, if you want to call it that, gaming media, got really excited about No Man's Sky, and they were wrong about that. They got really excited about Watch Dogs. They were wrong about that. Like I just like there's always like one or two of these buzz games that are going on where it's like, oh, like. And evolve. Like it doesn't evolve, it's like, but these don't typically pan out. Yeah. You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, but I just feel like, is this another like everyone hyping themselves up into a frenzy for no reason again? Because the game to me looks fun, it's pretty, but I certainly don't see why it would demand my attention particularly. So I'm gonna like look into it more, and when it comes out I'll play it. But the game that is imminent that looks fucking great, by the way, is Battlefield 1. We saw that at the show. They showed us the it was like a desert map from the beta for the multiplayer beta. The game's beautiful. I really do kind of feel like, based on what I'm seeing of Call of Duty and Battlefield, of which I'll both play. I know Call of Duty pretty well. I play the campaign, as everyone knows, pretty much every year, except for last year. I never played that one. Seeing these games side by side, I'm like, I think Battlefield 1's got your number, man. Like, I just feel like that game is leaps and bounds ahead of it. And what I said to the guy,
in every facet.
I just feel like
Because I'm excited for the Call of Duty this story or Call of Duty.
Yeah, the
this time
story
around
looks
because
cool.
It's, it's Taylor and it's the Naughty Dog guys. And it's like, all right, cool, let's go.
Well, that's different in the sense that like they're telling their own story. Battlefield 1's telling a kind of a warped World War I story of some sort, a great
Those
war
war
story.
pigeons.
The war pigeons, which is a mode in it. But and that really is a mode in it about war pigeons. But
Did you know about this?
No.
There's a mode where you actually have to go find messenger pigeons, attach a message to them, and get them to a place to let them fly off to
That's cool.
give messages. Fuck yeah. I'm in.
So what I was impressed about was multiple things. And this is what I said from the guy, I forget his name, from DICE that came and talked to us at the GameStop Expo was, I'm really impressed from a design standpoint of Battlefield games generally compared to Call of Duty games because it is not infantry only. It's or with some drones or with some other things. Like it is a very complex dance that has to be done on the design side to make a game like that work, where you will literally have a Zeppelin, you have like airplanes, these crude tanks, and then infantrymen, and then all these other tools and and they all have to work in some sort of symbiotic way so that nothing necessarily has this overt advantage where like if you're in a plane, a sandstorm comes in and fucks your whole day up and suddenly it's actually more advantageous to be on the ground or things like that. So I was like, I'm actually really impressed, not only from a graphical standpoint, because I think the game looks beautiful. It looks like it runs really well. We were obviously seeing PC footage. We'll see how it runs on console. And I like that they're delving into World War I, which I think is an inherently complicated place. And that's why I understand why the executives at EA didn't want to do the game originally in World War I, because it is, we've often talked about it. I'm like, I don't understand how you do this. But World War I also has a lot of interesting stories to tell because it is the first real, war of consequence. I think you can maybe say the American Civil War and some other wars. But it's the first real war of consequence where modernity met antiquity really in terms of the way a war is fought, where horses are fighting against
Thanks.
very crude looking metal shelled tanks. So I want to see how they handle those challenges. I think the campaign's gonna be really good, although they've been pretty mum about it. But I do want to give a shout out to Battlefield 1 because I think that game looks like a return to form for DICE. I think Battlefield 4 was very disappointing to a lot of people for multiple reasons, not chief amongst them the fact that the game didn't run for a very long time, and for some people still doesn't work properly. So as far as I understand, I mean, I've never played it online, but you still see people fucking bitching and complaining about it. So we'll see if it all pans out. But I do want to give a shout out to that game because that is one of those games. I won't play it for more than a couple of days. I'll get through the campaign and be done with it. But I like that they've kind of tackled head on these challenges and really when we look at graphics and sound and all these kinds of things and the way the game runs, and that's important. But design is really important too. It's one of the most important things, if not the most important fundamental thing to why a game is good or not. And to be able to balance and marry all those kinds of things, which is what DICE does really well, I think is way cooler than a map of 24 or 36 wherever people running around a city shooting at each other. It's just not as interesting when you see something like Battlefield 1 in action. It's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Another demo we saw was Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. And I'm not a big Dragon Ball guy.
But you love Xenoverses.
No.
Oh, my apologies.
But we had one of the Bandai Namco guys there, and also we had 2 professional players of the game. And to see people play on like a high level of that shit, I'm like, damn, what the hell's going on? And it's crazy because I mean I've seen Dragon Ball obviously, so I know how the fights go. There's a lot of teleporting, a lot of huge blasts, a lot of like moving around, and you're not just moving left to right. There's a lot of up and down. And in the game, they seem to really beautifully kind of managed to recreate the magic of the anime, but between these 2 guys playing at a pro level, it seems like they knew exactly what they were doing, and to see them teleporting behind each other and blasting each other in the back and like the destructible environments and stuff, I'm like, dude, this looks awesome. Like the animation looks super great, and they seem to be super into it. So that's another game where I was weirdly impressed by it, where I was just like, I couldn't even imagine like them taking a 2D fighting game but making it more of this like 3D and add air, like where you're just flying in the air fighting and stuff. Like in Injustice, you kind of see moments where they jump in the air and do some stuff and then come back down. This was like the entire camera would shift around and whatever, and it seemed like they knew what they were doing with it. And again, they are people that are very experienced with the game, but I was impressed by that. So for topic 3 of the day, I want to have Nick come. We're going to talk about inverted controls, but we're going to take a second to set that up. Topic 3 of the show, I decided that that Nick should be here.
Brought in the ringer.
The ringer.
We're talking about Deus Ex.
I finally want to bring someone that knows what they're talking about.
Axiom Verge.
We are talking about an internal war that's been going on, waging for years. And,
Kevin was just like, I was like, is it not recording? What'd you do? What happened?
No, I know what the issue. The topic's about, and I was
so
wondering
Colin and I
who
were
it
talking about this on Concrete Live yesterday. And I would like to discuss a little further. It's inverted versus regular
Being a weirdo versus being a normal human being. Got it.
This came up because at the GameStop Manager Expo,
Yeah, I had a funny joke.
Greg Miller and I were at the Square thing in front of a whole bunch of GameStop managers, and Greg had a really funny joke where anytime we would bring up someone to play Tomb Raider, I would ask them, "Are you inverted or regular?" And if they said inverted, you would then yell at the hundreds of people in the crowd.
No matter what I would say, I would go, "Hey, who?" By round of applause, who here is inverted? And there'd be a smattering, just the minority that is inverted would clap, and I go, "Everybody, pay attention! Look at those people. Don't have children with them. We need to breed them out of the gene pool. We need to get over this inverted hump we're on."
Don't have sex with them.
Exactly.
I think is what you said.
Well, I change it up every show.
You did.
There's jazz up there.
And then yeah. don't have sex with them. We need to breed them
Jazz,
out.
you know what I mean? Have you ever heard
What
jazz?
instrument was that?
I think he's playing the alto saxophone.
The
if I'm not
alto
mistaken.
sax?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I play.
Yeah, he's crushing it.
How did you know it was the alto sax?
Because it was too small to be the
Oh,
soprano
that's true.
sax. And the baritone sax is way down here.
I was
so
gonna
I
say,
just assumed.
Craig
Plus,
wouldn't know how to play a
the
baritone.
idea of Greg with an alto sax is just hilarious. He's gonna look like a giant.
I got a
with that thing
silver
in his
medal
hands.
in band with it. I want you to know.
Did you know?
Yeah.
Did you really play
Yeah.
alto sax?
Yeah, for like a year and a half or whatever.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I
You're up
believe
on
it.
that
Reed
reed.
instruments.
I absolutely.
I was sucking,
fuck the
I was
reed
sucking that
instruments.
reed left and
Woodwinds.
right.
I played sax for a year. Bad mistake. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
It's irrelevant.
Matter. It doesn't. Anyway, so this was an important thing. The Facebook group recently.
Yeah.
It's been a civil war dividing the two sides between the right side of history and the inverted
side, yeah.
people, and I cannot believe how divided it is.
So
I would
it's-
think that at this point, people would have learned and adapted over time.
So what, are you inverted? We brought you into to level the
inverted.
playing field?
Yeah, I'm inverted. And again, I'm not gonna sit here and defend being inverted. I know that it's wrong. Do you understand that? Like, I understand that it's counterintuitive and it doesn't make any sense. It is just a lineage thing, right? It is something that happened to me.
Flight sims?
Flight sims in the 90s. Mostly X-Wing, actually. I blame X-Wing for it because that was the first game I really ever got into that dealt with inverted controls. And I guess it made sense there. And then it's just been a legacy thing ever since. I always have to go, sorry guys, pause. I got to go to the menu and change the inverted option. My thing is, if you really want to weed it out, everyone has to convince game developers to stop putting that option in the game. It's very similar to the analog earbud thing for iPhones, right? Whereas like eventually that's just going to go away. The stereo jack's just going to go away, and it's going to be a lightning bolt. Some amazing group like Apple has to come around and be like, no, we're putting our foot down.
Courage.
We're putting our foot down, and we're telling everyone you can't have inverted controls anymore. You have to play like a normal human being. You can't be some sort of reject from 1992. That's all I have to say about that.
Greg, where do you stand?
Oh, you know where I stand. I'm a regular old person. I mean, we're playing it up for the camera, of course, here. I don't care how you play. It's just annoying when I go to an E3 or a demo or whatever, and you pick it up and you go, and I'm like, oh God damn it! Oh
We
shit!
feel the
Hop
same
in
way.
there, bring it back down.
We feel the same
But
way.
you know,
With
you're
you
the
normals.
you're just like these left-handed people ruining everything for everybody. All right, just get over it. Somebody should have tied your left hand behind your back, made you work with your right.
Just beat you on the right side
Yeah,
of the head
exactly,
until
exactly.
it worked.
I'm both left-handed and play inverted. So
Now-
like, apparently I belong in a fucking concentration camp.
Before you go any further with this, when it comes to inverted controls and being the face of the inverted camp,
Yeah.
you, sir, are the John Kerry. You are just a flip-flopper. There was a month where you couldn't play anything. It didn't feel right to play either.
Yeah, it's true. So actually, it's funny that I didn't know we were going to do this topic today. It was funny that, first of all, Nick's a traitor to his people. Second of all, it's funny that we because inversion makes perfect sense, and I'm going to talk about that in a second.
Here we go.
But
Doesn't make any sense.
it makes perfect sense. The one real life application where inversion would make like where something's actually inverted, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, is controlled exactly the way it is, fucking inverted. All right, which is an airplane, and we're going to talk about that in a second.
That's why it makes sense when I'm in an airplane.
Now, to me, I thought this was an interesting topic because someone tweeted at me today, and when we were talking about inverted controls, for some reason it comes up because everyone knows I play, I invert Y, and he was like, GoldenEye inverted by like it just had inverted controls by that was standard.
Oh, that was the default.
Yeah,
huh?
default. And I'm like, fucking A. That's where it comes from.
Absolutely.
I bet you anything because I was like, I played PC games, but I didn't play like flight sims and stuff. So I didn't, X-Wing and all that kind of stuff. I was like, that's not it. It's GoldenEye. And suddenly I realized I'm like, GoldenEye is the one that did that to me. And of course it was in GoldenEye as default because that's what makes fucking sense. But if you go into one of your precious Virgin America airplanes and they're doing,
You're welcome to.
all this kind of stuff, and then they're like, all right, lift up, and the guy's like, all right, I'm going up, so I'm pressing up on the thing. That
Man,
plane's
you
going to the fucking ground. All right?
You've listened to a lot of air traffic control. Oh, all right, press up. All right,
Okay.
press it up.
Okay, I'm going up.
Going up.
Hey, it didn't work.
Going up.
It didn't work.
Still going up. So to me, I've said in the past, stick a stick in the back of a person's head, and if you want them to look up, you press down. That's the entire rationale behind it, and it makes perfect fucking sense.
That doesn't make any sense. You're when you look up, do you think about looking down?
Yo, when I play Bioshock, am I the man in Bioshock, or am I controlling? No,
you
I'm
are
not
the man.
No, I'm not.
You are in that. You are in Rapture. Your hands right here. You are the man.
That's the perspective. You
You're
are
the
never.
man.
You are never actually the person in the game. You are never. No matter it is the perspective. So if you are a first person, in third person, it makes perfect sense too. But in first person, it's the perspective is as if you are that person, but you're not. You're still having to control the person with the analog stick by pressing down and make them look up.
Sir, when I played Gone Home, I was a teenage lesbian.
You still are a teenage lesbian.
In my heart will be.
So I mean, I understand why. Like, I understand we're a minority. It's something like 10 or 15% of gamers. I think everyone kind of gets it from different things or whatever. It's never going to go away because sometimes it just makes sense to certain people to play that way. See, if they did what Nick said and they like really brute forced it out of games, I would just not play them anymore because like I
would
can't.
still play it,
You're
but I
all
would-
talk. You'd turn
I would
around.
still play.
you'd
It wouldn't
learn.
take you that
wouldn't.
long. I don't
Yes,
think.
it would. It would
I don't-
break me.
I don't think you'd be that
Zelda
as good.
broke you at E3.
Yeah, like I
couldn't
couldn't.
do it.
They couldn't. First of all, when we played Breath of the Wild or whatever at E3, and I'm like, all right, I need to invert, and they're like, oh, it's not in this building. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
That's dumb.
And then I asked him, I'm like, it's gonna be in the final game, and he's like, I don't know, and I'm like, are you nuts? Of course. Well, first of all, of course it's gonna be in the final game, but.
Listening to Nick.
Nintendo.
But I was running
They're
around. I'm like, I
brave
can't.
ones.
After 10 or 15 minutes, like, because the demo was supposed to go, I'm like, dude, with all due respect, I gotta go. Like,
Yeah.
I can't play like this. Like, how can you not? How can no one at Nintendo, no one on that dev team plays inverted?
NX
no
is making
one-
a stand. NX is taking a stand
They're
against you
giving it to
inverted
you.
types.
They're giving it to you fucking hard.
My thing
Colin.
is like, and it's not just in games. That's the problem too. It actually goes. It has spread now to all other aspects of my life, including the trackpad on my laptop. So now it has to I have to grab and push down. I think it's inverted on my trackpad.
It
So
is.
don't even
It's
know.
a whole.
That's when I use your shit. I'm like, what the
Yeah,
hell?
you don't understand. And like
You're a
it
backwards
just
man.
is so weird. Like I'm just saying, I need help.
You're dyslexic.
Somebody needs to help all of us poor inverted people.
No, I don't
See,
want
I
help.
like that you're apologetic for your people. That's why when we take over and it's
don't
all
like-
done,
I don't like
you can
that
never be
you're-
on like this ruling security council of regular
No,
people.
no.
But you'll be our fun
You're
pet.
never gonna trust me.
Yeah, you
but
can
you
come
can
work.
chain me to the Game of Thrones throne.
Yeah.
and I can make you laugh occasionally.
You can change Tim's bedpan.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's what I've always wanted to do. in
All
life.
out.
This goes back to a certain thing though, which is, and I believe in this universally, and I'm disappointed that a lot of games still don't do it, is that there should be button mapping and customization to the degree that the gamer desires. If they want to play inverted Y, then they should be able to play inverted Y. It's not that uncommon. Some people invert X. And
That's
some
weird.
games let you do that as well. If you want to play Southpaw, then you should be able to play that as well to put
see-
movement on the right stick. If you want to fucking shoot with the X button, you can shoot with the X button. If you
But does it-
let people map the goddamn buttons to their exact to their exact specifications. What's the problem?
Well,
If I wanna
games
play the-
barely work as is,
People
let
used
alone
to,
doing
there
this.
were people that used to play like left-handed people. You can read a little bit about it, I think, but I remember reading about it not too long ago. Some people play and will play with the NES controller. Can play with the NES controller upside down.
Oh man, do you
You know,
ever watch that?
because it feels more natural to them. Because why necessarily control movement with the left hand if you wanted to control with the right and all those kinds of things? The only way to do that it was to flip the controller.
I had a friend, Michael Bryan, who used to play with the N64 controller, like turned all wackadoo to play GoldenEye to make it make more sense to him or whatever, where he was holding it sideways. I think the cord going through this hand or whatever over here, working the C buttons, this one working the stick.
See, Colin, going back to your original argument on this, I totally get and I understand that, and that's how it works in my brain as well. But the only issue is like, wouldn't that be the same for the x-axis as well? Like, isn't that same argument flawed because no one inverts the x-axis ever? Or the y-axis? Which one's left and right?
X.
Yeah, X is left.
So
and
no one
right.
ever inverts x.
Yeah, no,
But isn't
no.
that the same
People
concept?
do.
Like when you
Some
go-
people do,
but
but
that's
I do sometimes, but it depending on the
That's
third
a.
person.
I would.
Oh,
I would
so
bet that's
you can
very-
invert X.
No,
but
no. Here's the thing.
I would say
Let
it's
me-
much more of a minority than people.
I haven't
invert y.
given my history on this. Things have changed. I have fixed myself. I
That's
don't know
what I like to
how.
see.
I don't know how, but I did.
I
You
do
went
want
to
you
one
guys
of
to understand
you
that
went to
you're
one of our
invert shaming
inversion
right
conversion
I
camps.
want you
I'm
guys
set
to
up.
know.
Inversion camps.
Inversion
You're-
conversion. I like that.
I don't appreciate the amount of invert shaming that's happening right
No,
now.
it's
okay.
You
guys-
started
you guys
it.
are invert shaming. I'm
You
just
all
saying.
trying to come around
I'm
now.
just saying. Look, I know that I have a deficiency when it comes to this because I've been shamed so much by the likes of you normies.
Yeah.
Okay.
The inversion
giant, big,
conversion
beautiful
centers
normies.
will accept you with open arms.
I feel like that's just going to be a conveyor belt into a fucking fireplace.
I just feel like it makes perfect sense, but it goes beyond that. It's just like a good example is when Deus Ex Human Revolution came out. The game was unplayable to me because you had to click on the stick to aim,
Yeah, it was weird.
and they never mapped in the ability to aim with the triggers. Why not? You know, like that, like really infuriated me. It's like, go in there and let people map it. If I want to aim with the fucking down button on the D-pad, I'll aim with the goddamn down button on the D-pad and make it happen. Like, people should be able to specify their controls to the exact way that they want to play.
I've had issues like GTA San Andreas. I had an issue where all the other GTA games, you can drive the cars using the D-pad. But then in San Andreas, you could only use the analog stick, and it just didn't work for me. I just didn't like it, so it definitely hindered my experience with that game.
That's why you walked everywhere.
I did. I didn't. I never got in a car.
Slowly running from the police.
But for me, like GoldenEye is exactly it. It's GoldenEye and Star
no,
Fox.
dude, this guy-
Star Fox probably is the other one.
Where I didn't play PC games, or at least not flight sims and stuff back then. So for me, on the N64, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Star Fox, all of those were inverted by default, and they fucked me up really badly. A lot of my friends didn't play those games growing up. Their first real console first-person shooters were like Time Splitters or Halo. And when I jumped in playing with them, I'd be the asshole that had to go in changing all my options, but I was changing my options to make them play like GoldenEye played, which is all types of fucked up. If you try playing GoldenEye now, you're not going to have a good time. It's atrociously controlled because not only is it inverted, it's also like you move, you strafe.
Strafe left and right.
If you have to hold R to strafe.
Oh, that's
so you're
right.
actually you walk forward and back, but you can look left and right with the analog, and then you have to hold the R to do the aim thing. And it's like
I thought it was super. I mean, you're right that it's like but that was super elegant in 1997. You know, like
It was a good way to get
that's the reality of the situation.
elegance. One way to put it. It worked, and we convinced ourselves it worked.
It's one of the great games
I
on
wouldn't
the
say
So he was like,
I
what if
agree
we
with
just
you
add
too.
a
GoldenEye's
second
fucking
analog
awesome.
stick? And it was like,
Well, if you plugged in both controllers, you could do that. You could play dual analog.
But I just don't understand the whole
I know that.
like
That's awesome.
I just don't understand. There's no real life application for like controlling another person's movement, right? Unless you're using a machine or something like that. But like I think the airplane is a perfect thing. It's like this is a real life thing that's controlled exactly like this. So why does that make sense? Physically, it's physics. Makes sense, you know? Then but it doesn't make sense to control the character who you aren't. You aren't playing as yourself.
But that's the whole thing, is that you can understand how to control the airplane inverted, because that's how you control an airplane. And you control a person looking up, looking down. And I understand you think that you're not really that person.
Yeah,
I
and you're
understand
not,
what you're
and
saying,
and your neck.
But that's how I control myself.
You
down,
really
up,
don't
down.
though.
but again, then but
I
the
never
argument-
think about the pool cue shoved in my head going
No, but
like
that's
this.
not what
again,
I'm
the
saying,
flaw in the
because you're
argument-
not controlling yourself. If you're controlling, if I
Damn,
want,
shit's getting real.
you know,
It's
like,
all metaphorical and philosophical.
but it matters about like the perspective of who you're controlling. And I think it also has to do with what you look at the game as, like especially in first person games. Like I don't ever look at it as me.
And I think that's a great example of the problem, or not the problem, but the difference.
The problem.
Even when I'm playing a third person and I'm playing as Trevor or whatever in GTA, I'm that character. That is me. I'm not making the choice saying those lines or whatever, but like the controls and what I want to do, I'm thinking is how I would do them.
Yeah. For me, in Halo, I not only would have to invert my controls, I'd have to play on what they call legacy controls, because it was referring to like GoldenEye and stuff. And that was all types of fucked up, where I would use the left analog stick to move forward and look, and I'd use the right stick to strafe and aim up and down. And then one day, it just clicked. After Alfredo shamed me for years, I was just like, oh my God, I'm normal. My life's been better ever since.
What happened with you where it unclicked for you, right?
Yeah. Well, before I get into that, I always respect that about Bungie. I don't know if 343 does, because I've not played their Halo games. They had a really deep control scheme customization that I think should be the standard, and it should go even deeper than that. And I don't understand that. If I ever made a game, you'd be able to map it. Fucking believe me. All right. Like
just make a game about mapping things.
It should a cartography game.
Yeah, that's it.
So yeah, like fall 2014, there was about a month or 6 weeks where I couldn't play. Like I couldn't play inverted or uninverted. Nothing made sense. It was like really starting to like bum me out.
That's weird.
It was when Destiny came out and Borderlands 2 on Vita. And I've told a story recently about going to play Far Cry 4 at Ubisoft, and they were like, I was playing, I was like competent, but they were like, we thought you were a huge Far Cry fan. I'm like, I am. I'm broken right now. I was talking to Scott Fry. I'm like, I can't play. Like I just don't know what's happened to
You
me.
lost your mojo. It was like
Yeah, like I was, and then
powers, too.
suddenly, like one day, I think it was with Call of Duty that year. I was like, oh, I'm fine. Everything's actually, it's back. I'm back to normal.
I'm back.
It was really a scary. I got to be honest with you. It
Colin's
was
back.
for a gamer. It was like kind of a scary thing where I'm like,
Sure.
what the hell is happening? Like, I remember playing Destiny, going in the menu every 5 seconds, like changing it back and forth, being like, I don't understand what's going on. And then when I went to Comic-Con that year, around the time we quit, I was playing Borderlands on Vita, and I'm like, I can't, like, I don't know what's happening to me. And but I came back to the inverted cam, but unlike Nick, I'm not ashamed of it. I think that it's just another of many customizations options. We have these very complicated controllers
look
that
fondly
should
on
be
you.
able to do whatever you want them to do within the game. And I think that the constraints of being like, this is the way the game's played. I'm like, why? Like, I just don't understand how complicated could it possibly be to let people map the controls.
Yeah.
It requires a little extra QA, it requires a little extra work, and it's not that complicated. It's
Well,
like,
they clearly
you can't.
figured it out in Deus Ex with Mankind Divided, because they let you have every different kind of control scheme.
And
you
I saw
possibly
that,
could want.
and I thought that was great because it's a far cry from Deus Ex Human Revolution, which controlled to me in a way that I literally couldn't play.
Yeah.
And like
It was
that's
hard.
not
It took some
acceptable.
getting
Why
used
would
to.
you want? And that got not necessarily through QA, but that got through like, people coming in early and playing it. Like no one was like, why am I clicking on the stick to aim? Like I'm playing fucking Halo.
Anytime you have to click a stick on, you failed as a developer. Like that's my theory. It's like anytime you use
Damn.
R3 or L3, it's just like, because inevitably that's going to just be a frustrating portion of the game from the fucking start to the very end. It was with Deus Ex. It was with every game that I've ever had to use that control, especially
Resistance Fall Man had that.
especially in anything that requires a fast reaction to something, because inevitably you're just going to want to move right, and you're going to do it a little bit too vehemently or arduently, and it's going to just click in, and all of a sudden you're in cover and someone's blasting your face. It's annoying as shit. Hate it.
Sometimes I find
should be
myself someone randomly blasting my
Blasting
face.
your face.
Well, you're just on your knees near in the dark, like,
Ladies and
cover area,
gentlemen,
and someone's blasting
Let
your
us
face.
know in the comments below. Are you team inverted or team normal? Regular. What are we calling it?
Doesn't matter.
Well, you
there are
just-
plenty of
Yeah,
inversion
team right,
conversion
team wrong.
centers
The
with
inversion
open
conversion
arms.
centers.
Just welcoming you in. We'll make you right.
Yeah. Let us know. We will help you. We will help you.
You guys sit on that fucking high and mighty throat of yours and just eat your
You helped
pizza.
them.
I know, right?
You came right in and said that you were ashamed of yourself.
So topic 4, as always, brought to you by you over in the Kind of Funny forums. You can go to kindoffunny.com/gamescast topic and leave your topic just like all these people did. And by the way, this episode, yes, brought to you by Steven Insler.
We hope you're alive,
My
Steven.
dude. My dude. I can't believe he's
Patreon
still
producer.
there.
Patreon producer
Producing this
Steven
show
Insler.
like only he knows
Steven
how.
Insler. And R.I.P.
One day I want to hear from him. I just want to know. If you're out there, Steven Insler,
Why don't you reach out?
just say hi. Just talk
Well,
to
there
us.
are
How you
there
doing?
are definitely a few people that are just not paying attention to their credit
Oh,
card
sure.
statements. Because I did like a slew. I think I did 27 thank you videos or something
Yeah.
last month, and then filmed them, and then Kevin very patiently filmed them, and I edited them and put them up. And you see like people watch them, but there's like always one or two people that like no one's like paying attention, and like one person in particular, like
Stephanie? Stephanie,
I'm
yeah.
like, are you okay? Like,
We ask in the video, are you watching this? We never get a response.
geez, you got to look at your credit card statement. We don't want that. We like to make money, but we don't want money from people unaware that they're giving it to us.
But if you do want to give money, patreon.com/kindoffunny.
Yeah, we appreciate you, but I'd rather be honest about it.
All right. This question comes from Cameron Abbott. He has a couple questions. Number 1 is, Greg,
Yeah.
are you still playing Galgun?
No.
Why not?
It's the same thing over and over again. I was like, this will be a fun playing game, and then I was playing with you guys for like an hour and a half, and I was just like, you know what? No, I've tapped out on tapping on girls' titties.
Yeah. You'd think you'd
I'll never
get old,
tap out on
right?
tapping on girls'
Never.
titties ever.
Tapping on them titties.
Never.
Question number 2, also from Cameron Abbott. He says, have you guys heard of Pokemon Uranium? It's not a ROM hack, but a complete game. What are your thoughts? Yes, I've heard of it. I have not played it. That's a whole interesting thing with, Nintendo taking things down and all that stuff. And that's a complicated topic for another day.
Where's Pokemon Snap?
Who knows? Who knows, Greg?
The trash bin where it belongs.
Whoa!
Excuse me?
I'm only kidding. Or am I?
We'll never know. Colin Moriarty is a well of
Remember
secrets.
the advice earlier, Colin? The talk shit, good shot.
Oh, yeah.
We warned
Who's
you.
going to shoot me? Pikachu? I don't know. Little polygon Pikachu?
You're not afraid of him.
Good Lord. All right. Will, at PSN_Raynal says, has Tim heard about the Crash Warped fan remake Crash Time Twister? What do you think about fan remakes in general? So these questions I'm going to kind of lump together.
I like it. I like what you're doing.
So Crash Time Twister, I have heard of. I think it's interesting. I saw some videos of it. It has a problem that I have with pretty much every single 3D fan game in that it just doesn't look good. And it doesn't play right. And the characters are all kind of sliding around in a really weird way that just takes you out of it.
Sure.
And it's like you've seen a lot of Sonic games do this. A lot of like these people are trying to do something good, but it's like they're lacking the polish that's necessary for this shit to matter.
Yeah, they're amateurs. I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way. You're an amateur. Jesus Christ, I wouldn't even know what the hell the first thing to do if I was making a game. You know?
Now, having said that, when you look at like kind of 2D fan games or things like Pokemon Uranium or whatever, I'm sure that's great. Like, I'm sure that's fine because that people can kind of wrap their head around that. It's a lot simpler and it's a lot easier to use tools that already exist to palette swap sprites or, even create new sprites to do whatever. That I think people can wrap their head around. And, like 3D models are rough, even in CG, like even in movies and stuff, unless you have top quality VFX house working on stuff, CG looks kind of shitty. So imagine with a video game where you have to animate all of that and there's so much shit going on, like that's going to be a bad time. But in a 2D game, you're gonna be fine, right? And with this, I have actually a lot of experience with the ROM hacks for Pokemon games back in the day, where they would ROM hack Ruby or Sapphire or whatever on the GBA, or more specifically Mario World and Mario World 2. I played through a whole bunch of like completed fan games that were just what now Mario Maker does, where you can just create your own Mario levels.
Yeah.
But they create these whole games that like actually had difficulty progressions and secrets and all these like different areas and stuff. And those are some of the best Mario games I ever played. There's one, Super Mario World, Super Demo World is what it's called. And it's up there, man. It's up there. It's better than I think a lot of the new Super Mario Bros. Games for sure in terms of level design and complexity. And they're games that are designed to just be hard, but still challenging and fun and deserved in their difficulties, where it's not just like there is the bullshit just Super Mario like impossible things where it's like, all right, that's not even fun. This is a game that is fun, and I highly recommend it. I highly recommend looking into it. Yoshi's Island had a bunch of ROM hacks that I got into, and those are great, and that's why the PSP is so good. Emulation, you can play all these ROM hacks. It's super easy to find. Have you guys ever done any fan games at all?
Yeah, a few. The most recent one, or one of the most, I guess it is the most recent, was the Street Fighter Cross Mega Man game that Mega Man or Capcom basically co-opted because they forgot it was the 25th anniversary of Mega Man apparently. And they released it officially, and it was okay. It was like, I find a lot of these games, and when I would play a lot of them when I was a kid, it reminds me of RPG Maker games and stuff like that, and even Fighter Maker, which was a game, a little half-baked. Like, why bother? It goes back to the idea of like the Metroid game that was just taken down recently, which was basically Metroid 2 kind of like reimagined. I'm like, I appreciate it. I appreciate the thought and the effort that's put into this. I mean, there's a lot of talent put into this, a lot of time, and that's great. But what do you expect is going to happen? Like, especially if you do a Nintendo IP, what do you think is going to happen? Like, do you think they're just going to let that go? Like, that is their IP, and I do feel like some people get up in arms about, like, why are they taking these games down? It's like, because this confuses Joe Schmo out there who doesn't fucking know anything, and he searches for Sonic.
Pokemon Uranium.
Yeah, Pokemon Uranium. It's like, I guarantee you there are fucking people out there that thought or think that Pokemon Uranium is maybe real.
Yeah.
Like, maybe a legit game, and they, but it's not. It's not a Pokemon game. So, I like the spirit of it. It there was a lot of that kind of stuff because it was really to go into like the hex, I guess, in like 8 and 16-bit games. It was somewhat easy to, I don't want to say easy, but like you can manage like moving things around. I think that's how those Mario games were made or whatever, because it's all based on like a cloud in Mario and is basically just like a bunch of numbers, and if you put like H372 and then the next line 5532 whatever, it makes a cloud. Like, and so you figure that out and you put it in the. It's a little more complicated these days, and that's why like these 3D games you're talking about are just you need these talented people that know how to do what they're doing. So I think it's a cool scene. Dude, more power to you. I don't give a fuck, but I feel like it's kind of wasted effort because I feel like a lot of these games get taken down or people get sued or it's legal action or at least threatened legal action taken down. Like that guy that worked on Metroid for all those years. It's like, well, what did you think was going to happen? Wouldn't your talents been better used like to make a new game? You can clearly know what you're doing. So go make some money. I just think people have to kind of redirect those energies towards like their own IP.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. I mean, well, when you look at a more professional level, I guess, and that's just because these are the games that made it, but you'd bring up the Street Fighter Mega Man thing. There's the Miss Pac-Man, obviously. It was just a hacked Pac-Man, and then Counter-Strike coming from Half-Life. Like, those are real big deals, and it's just they started as fan games. So
Yeah, and actually, I mean, to your point, I believe Raven, which I think is still located in Wisconsin, which is an Activision studio, was founded, and they're up there because that's where id used to be around there somewhere. They were founded because they used to just hack id games and like fuck around with them, and then they became a real studio. So yeah, there is, but that's a 1 in a million kind of thing. Where these guys might get noticed, but more likely than not, you're maybe not 1 in a million, but 1 in 1,000 or something. But you're more likely than not, you're wasting your time. But man, I remember RPG Maker. You use a Gex drive or whatever they called it.
Gex drive. Oh my god!
You can like transfer games online. People used to go on GameFAQs on the Gex drive lists, and then you could like upload your. People went fucking ham on those role playing games, man. RPG Maker was cool. Really cool idea.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes. Andelius asks, I'd love to see something on Deus Ex and this Human X design thing going on. That'd be cool for you to talk about that a little bit.
He's talking about Open Bionics and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, it's awesome stuff. So at Comic-Con this year, I hosted the panel that was Deus Ex in what they're doing with Open Bionics. And I'm saying it right? Why isn't it saying Bionics? I was wondering. Not Bionics. Bionic. Right. I'm asking you just to make sure. Because now that I'm saying it. Okay. Yeah. Bionics.
Yeah, Bionic is the fusion of like a man with a machine, right? That's what it is. So it's Bionic.
There's no T. It's an N.
Not biotic.
Open Bionics.
Yeah.
Okay. We're all set.
Good.
And that's what I was saying, right? Bionics.
Orange.
Well, there was a T in there somewhere.
I was making sure I wasn't. Anyways, Open Bionics. Yeah, so the idea there is this really cool meetup. The Open Bionics people are basically open sourcing appendages for people who don't have arms, don't have legs, or whatever. And the idea is that we were talking on this panel at Comic-Con at length or whatever, and if you needed an artificial limb right now, it's something egregious, right? They were saying it's really expensive and we're making it cheaper. Ours are markedly cheaper. And finally I asked them, like, what does that mean? And like, I guess they were saying ballpark, obviously these are all estimates. It was something between $60,000 and $120,000 for an arm, right? Mm-hmm. Something like that. And the one they had made for this girl we were showing, right? Who's this little girl who can use this now arm that's 3D printed, that costs $5,000. And so they had already been doing this for a while, Open Bionics, making these different limbs for people, trying to do this. And the reason it's open, right, is that it's open source. So they're putting everything they have up online because they're just a small team. I think, what was it, 5? I think they said?
5 people.
5 people. They're putting all their stuff out there so that other people at home can go in and tweak it, make it better, share it back to them. They can continue to share it. The fusion of this comes, and they were, during the panel, both sides were like, we don't really know anymore, but basically they were talking about it, and somebody was like, well, this sounds a lot like Deus Ex, and then they all started talking about it and how it became this thing of when the writers and designers working on Human Revolution, it was very much like, here's where we think, human augments are going and artificial limbs and all this stuff, where it's going in 20 years. And in the time of starting that idea and working on what they were doing with Human Revolution, technologies kept growing by leaps and bounds, getting crazy, to the fact that you get to Deus Ex Mankind Divided, they're getting ready to put out. They'd already got to the point where this is now happening. We're getting there to the point. And so they had this little girl who was awesome, whose name is escaping me. Do you remember that song?
I don't remember.
I want to say Tilly, but that doesn't.
Tilly.
It is Tilly? Yeah. All right, Tilly. And Tilly's been blown up now because they're going, like, during our San Diego Comic-Con panel, we talked about the fact that there was a Bionics panel coming, or a trade show coming up and all this different stuff. She was just at the White House with all this stuff, showing what it is and whatever. Open Bionics starts talking to Deus Ex, who talks to them. They're going back and forth about how they want to make these things cool, right? That since if we can 3D print these things, we can do it super cheap. Why not make them with style? Why not make them look cool and not just have them be a hideous hook or a giant, robot arm that costs way too much? And so it was that the team at IDOS started working with them, and on the panel was the artistic lead, right, who had basically sat there and designed the arm and the colors and what it should do and what it wouldn't do, and then showed it to them, and Bionics then makes that actually functional and how that's going to work and what it's going to be. And that working with them then influences the game because they now see that like when you're having to do it in real life now, well, why would there be a screw there if it's not functional? And taking that all out and stripping that down so that when you play Mankind Divided, you are getting Adam Jensen the way that arm should look if it was going to be a prosthetic for somebody and put onto somebody. And so the Comic-Con panel really felt like their first step out in terms of, at least for me, in terms of this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it. And then, now it has been this thing where it's getting all sorts of press because, they were just the White House talking about it. And it's amazing to see, right? Because it's not implants, it's not, and they definitely think they're going that direction when you talk to the Open Bionics people, that they're going the direction of one day, yes, it's going to be like Mankind Divided. It's going to be like the Deus Ex universe where we can do that. But right now it is just sensors, because what Tilly's arm, I believe, is just below the elbow gone. And so the muscles are still there. So they put sensors there. And so she can sit there and flex it. And
it was crazy. It was like, it was this hand and she could pick things up. Like she was picking up balls and stuff. And it's like, it's unbelievable.
I mean, it's to the point that, like you see, I put up a photo at the Comic-Con panel with her, and what she does is she always does is the OK symbol and puts it over her eye and, looks out. And it's like, that's the level of control she has where she can control it on a finger basis. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it was very impressive. And going back to you were saying the price of $60,000. Like not only is the jump from $60,000 to $5,000 like a huge deal. That's $60,000. This girl was like what, 7-8 years old?
Right.
She's growing.
Yeah.
So it's like that's $60,000 that you have to keep getting new arms, like consistently, new hands and whatever. So it's like the fact that they are getting to a point that this is a technology that is affordable.
Yeah.
You
talk to Tilly about it, like what she's excited about, right, is that one day it's going to be, she opens her closet and there are 30 arms there and they're colors and she can put them on, and whatever her outfit for the day is going to be, she has an arm that looks like that. Yeah. That's awesome.
She can buy a cool blue jacket and wear a cool blue arm.
No, she'll buy a cool green jacket like that. No.
I was going to say real quick, it's incredible that, like, that's really expensive. $60,000, $120,000 is expensive. I would have thought it would even be more than that.
Yeah.
So it's incredible that they're able to get it down. Like if someone was like, you lose your leg and they're like, we'll replace your leg for $100,000. I'd be like, that seems like a steal. Like, so it's incredible that they're able to get the technology down to this point, and you do open sourcing, which I think is really smart too.
If you're interested,
it's a very kind thing, because a lot of these guys that have the know-how, by the way, to do this stuff, not to interrupt, like
no,
they can make a fucking mint, man.
Oh, 100%.
And like the fact that like you don't do that says a lot about your character, I think.
If you want to know more, jump over. It's openbionics.com or at openbionics on Twitter.
And opening up the technology, by the way, like Google does with a lot of their stuff, means that everyone riffs on it constantly, and then you actually, you crowdsource it and you peer review it, and it gets to better places quicker. So I think that's really cool too. Yeah. But I had no idea when I've seen these bionic limbs and stuff like that. I honestly thought that these were $500,000, $1 million. Like
I'm sure some of the ones you've seen are. They're talking about the low rung one, your base model. What is it going to be?
It's incredible. It's just incredible that they can attach a machine to you, and you can control it with your mind.
It's nuts.
It's absolutely fucking insane. We're really close to the singularity.
Joey Graber says, "What's the most useless controller button?" I mean, I feel like it's obvious. The select button.
Oh, that is
the select button can just straight go fuck itself. Because when you look back at just the history of controllers, right? Let's go back to the NES controller.
Sure.
A, B, necessary.
Yeah.
D-pad, necessary. Start button, necessary. Select, necessary for some games. But why wasn't there just a C button then?
Yeah, select was weird just in the sense that like a lot of early NES games, you had to use select to like actually select where you're going. Then you hit start and you never use it again. I always found it interesting in hindsight that no one really used the select button more. Like some did. But like Mega Man, for instance, I always talk about Mega Man, people get mad, but I think it's a good example. Like you press start to go through the menu, but you can't pause the game outright unless you're playing the original Mega Man. You can't do it. So why not always map actual pause to select for all of the Mega Man games? It was just this option that was there that no one used. I almost feel like it's not the controller's fault. I feel like it's the developer's fault, because there was just not enough for the games to do. Some games did use it, but in modernity, I would say that on both consoles, especially on PlayStation 4, I think they really basically got rid of it and made it the share button.
Yeah.
But then they replaced it with another useless button, which is the fucking touchpad. But at least the touchpad has more practical application. It doesn't need to be this massive thing on the controller. I don't know what
the touchpad can be broken up into 4 useless buttons.
It's true.
So yeah, I would say select is actually the obvious choice. I would say.
And in the second place, one of the fucking buttons on the Wii. Whenever you're playing with the Wii, there's always something where I'll be doing a demo for it, and they'll be using a nunchuck or whatever, and they're like, "Well, hit the ZC."
Oh, there's a little
bullshit.
small circular button on the.
Is it on the nunchuck? There's the trigger, and then there's one up there.
C.
And it's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Well, fuck you.
Okay.
Fuck Select.
I remember when I liked Wii at one point in my life.
I mean, you were drinking the Kool-Aid hard in that one. Never
Sure.
forget
I
it.
can't even like that. Just blows my mind. I didn't know you then. That must have been a whole different Colin.
Well, it's fresh off a GameCube, which was fantastic.
Well, I get it.
I really thought they were going to give us a new way to play, and I trusted Nintendo. I don't trust Nintendo anymore. That's the only difference is that I was up DS's ass like it wasn't even fucking funny. I played GameCube and GBA and NES and SNES and N64. I mean, there was Game Boy and Game Boy Pocket and Game Boy Color. I mean, they never let me down. And then it took me a year for me to really accept.
They let you down.
Yeah, it took me a solid year for me to accept that we sucked. Like I was
so
really
funny.
hanging on until like late
Playing
2007.
all your third-party games on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Late 2007 was probably I was like I can't actually do this anymore. What am I doing? Yeah.
God, that's funny. Stuart Fox says, "Did you get on with Guitar Hero Live in the end?" No. I had a lot of fun with it for I'd say maybe like 2 weeks.
I think I remember talking about this with you, where we had it like not talking to each other. We both did it where we played like 2 or 3 weekends. Like, it was
Yeah.
like I came home on a Saturday and just played with it a bit.
and it's super fun. It's just it's a time and place situation where the rhythm games, they are what they are. They had their fun, especially the ones with the instruments. And Rock Band, like and the original Guitar Heroes, like we understand what that is. So
Yeah.
that's just a way that we play games now. So adding another gimmicky
Black and
peripheral,
white,
it's
yeah.
kind of like it was fun, and I liked the challenge, but I didn't feel the need to dedicate as much time as it needed or deserved. I think that it was good enough to deserve it, but it just didn't grab me to like. I didn't want to.
That's the thing. Like we talk about it, where like Rock Band 4 when they announced that and it was coming out, we all go like, "Oh man, this is gonna be fun. We're gonna look forward." And Colin and I'll never forget that day where I'm like, "You want to play?" Rock Band came like, "You want to play Rock Band?" You're like, "Yeah, I do." We unplugged it and unboxed it and plugged it all in, and it's just a litany of like, it's not sunk right. This and I'm like, "Fuck this." We're done. And then like sitting down to play it at GameStop Expo, we played 3 songs and I was like, that was a lot of fun. I am in no way in need of running out to buy Rock Band or play Rock Band when I get home.
Well, so yeah, at GameStop we did. It was Rock Band, and this
Rock
is something
Band
no one even
Rivals.
fucking knows what the hell's happening. It's Rock Band Rivals is a new
mode
expansion
for Rock Band
coming out.
4.
But
it's new instruments because they're no longer with Mad Cats now.
Oh, yeah.
Now they're with
who the hell knows?
fuck. I'll look that up.
Some other company that's going to go out of business.
80K or some shit. Like it was some weird letters, I think.
Okay.
Anyways, whatever.
But
It was
I shit on Mad Cats, by the way, but I actually thought it was a more shrewd move than it ended up being for them to do it again. I actually really thought that the music genre could not the way it was in 2006, 2007, 2008, but it could have lived again. And I was wrong about that. Boy, oh boy, was I wrong about that.
Andrew Taylor, aka Papa Drew Bear, says, "Do you guys think the launch of PSVR will be smooth or a mess in terms of launch titles and applications you can use with it?"
Smooth.
Yeah, I feel like they got a fair amount of stuff coming out, like either at launch or throughout the rest of the year.
The danger is in 6 months or a year.
Yeah.
The danger is not at launch. Sony very rarely launches with a weak library. I mean, we even talked about, I think the last time they launched with a like profoundly weak
PvP.
library was PS2. Which the library had a lot of games, but there was
Smugglers
fucking
Run.
nothing there.
Fantavision.
I was like, yeah, Fantavision, fantastic. Like Smugglers Run, Summoner. Put a gun to my fucking head playing that game.
Street Fighter.
EX2
EX.
or whatever.
Madden.
So I think PlayStation 2 was really the last time there was a weak launch library. I think PS3 had a pretty smaller, but they had like Resistance and MotorStorm and stuff at launch. It's not a bad way to go. Vita, I think, has the best launch library of any PlayStation platform ever, and I think PSP had a pretty good launch too. Not nearly as bad
Luminous,
as PS2's,
bitch.
and then PS4 was good.
It did have Luminous.
Yeah.
So I think PSVR is going to have its library of games. You know what they are. It's going to be for you or not. I think the biggest danger is going to see how these games do, and then the marketing research they get and the data they research, the data that they garner that will play out whether this works or not beyond 6 months or a year. I think it's going to. I think it's going to be a slow burn. And as I've said before, I think that we're being small-minded in thinking about PlayStation VR, just VR in general, as a gaming application.
Well, that's the problem I have with this. Well, not the problem I have with the launch and what he's talking about is question, right? Game-wise, I think, if you're an informed consumer and you're paying attention to this, you're getting games. They're going to be experiences. A lot of these are going to be small experiences. Let's not get crazy. But he mentions apps. And I think that's where Sony's missing the boat on this, is that there's not going to be apps for it. You're not going to have it tied in. Like since it's PlayStation, an app has to be, native to it. It has to be ported over and brought over. And I don't think this, when you see the fact of like, on YouTube, you can use your VR headset to watch specific YouTube videos that way. That's not going to be there on PlayStation VR, and that's a huge miss. And there's so many little things like that. That, granted, it's hard to go down and find company X who is making these small virtual reality things, make the app in the hopes that they will be there in 6 months. You don't know. Maybe they're going to get out of that technology as well. It would have been cool to see even a dedicated, curated PlayStation video app service that, hey, we're bringing in PlayStation VR things to this thing, approved people.
Oh, smart, yeah.
But they didn't. And that's where it's going to be that's my big concern when I talk about it, and why I really think the fact people have to know what they're buying is they buy it and they just play their few experiences and then have to wait. They're going to see that on the shelf all the time. Be like, I wasted money doing that. I don't use that enough.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Thank you very much for joining us. As always, I appreciate you and your time. Colin, Greg, thank you for joining me.
Thank you. This is
Till
a better
next
looking
time.
jacket than your blue one.
Fucking hate you.